What's going down, gang? Welcome and thank you for listening to Just Bleed Radio. This is the meetup after the melee, the post-scrap recap. It's the Weekend Roundup, episode 71 for UFC 320, Ankalaev versus Pereira 2. Welcome back to the program, everybody. I am Lazy Bed, and love me or hate me, I'll be damned if you don't know who I am. I'm in every chat imaginable, motherfucker. You know who I am. As you just heard, this is the Weekend Roundup, and we are JBR. That's not a metaphorical we either. So let me introduce you to one of my favorite fight freaks who loves stiff jabs and stiff drinks. That's right, motherfucker. I'm back with the intros. He is my most frequent co-host and a fellow chat dweller, emanating from somewhere in the UK like the subtle scents of aged rum and burnt cannabis. He's spent weeks endlessly taste testing various combinations of spirit, sour, and sweet, all in quest of creating the perfect dangerous Dakota daiquiri, or at least that's what he tells his liver. He's my favorite Englishman. It's Danger Mouse. How the fuck are you?
Well, very, very well, Lazy. Fantastic intro. I've not like that for a while. And yes, despite the protests of Uber, my recommender on cocktails, of putting orgeat in it, I like the drink. I think it looks pretty nice.
Well, it certainly looks refreshing.
Yeah, it is.
Good.
Yeah, I couldn't get any Brazilian spirit for tonight, but I do have some new Panamanian rum to try. So
Ooh,
nearby.
very nice.
Yeah,
sounds pretty classy. All right, yeah. Well, maybe we can talk some Dakota later on before we get out of here because she was around this weekend. But let's get back on track here with our actual program. And unfortunately, as I said, guys, our guy No Special is indisposed today. He is actively dealing with a massive infestation of Japanese beetles that's just ravaging portions of a small Californian coastal town. No. He's off potentially making some big career advancements. So we wish him well. And in his absence, you got me and the Mouse Man, and we're doing a little duet. So let's go ahead and kick things off. Just do us two small favors as we begin. If you enjoy the content, give the video a like and sub to the channel. We appreciate all of you, and we appreciate everything you do for JBR. All right, now, no playing around today. We are getting straight into it. It is your UFC 320 main event. It was the big battle for the big gold, 205-pound Titans tussling for the light heavyweight strap. Reigning champ Magomed Ankalaev looked to retain his title against former champion Alex Pereira. The rematch set to answer countless questions. Would a healthy Poatan topple the Russian? Win or lose, would it be on to heavyweight for him after? Or would Ankalaev manage to go 2-0 against a highly feared fan favorite? Fuck no, he wouldn't. Fuck no. Sorry, big wank fans, but we got some chama for your mama. From the opening bell, Pereira walked straight up into Ank's house, right into the living room like Rick James, and he said, fuck yo couch, and he stomped his dirty feet all over that goddamn couch. A minute and 20 seconds was all it took for Alex to march down Ankalaev, set him on the mat, and ruthlessly pound his head in. Shout out to those 12-6 elbows. No more talk, no more back and forth, no more debate. Pereira told us he was 40% going into the last fight. He said he was sick and injured. And I'll be damned, guys, if this wasn't a fighter actually being honest with us for once. He was actually telling the truth, because this was a complete 180 in the way this one played out. And Alex shuts the mouth of countless haters and several Russian engagement bots. I know you've all seen them. Now, I'd like to say that on our preview show last week, I did hedge my bets. I benefit from Alex winning and regaining his title, as he is my second round fantasy draft pick. But I did pick Onk on the preview so that I could win either way. But nonetheless, it's a whopping 55-point performance from Stonehands for Team Lazy. Oh, hey, that's the most points you can score in one fight. Look at me go, guys.
Smoke motor.
One guy who did pick Poatan, however, outright was my co-host Danger Mouse, And while he may not be happy that I now sit at 350 draft points, he is surely happy for his Tapology picks, I would imagine. So, DM, another highlight performance from Chama. What are your thoughts on this fight, and what comes next for both these guys?
Yeah, well, on the picks front, I have a slight confession to make there because I picked everything on the Discord, more or less, that I said I was going to pick on the show. And apart from the main event, because you two, I'm blaming YouTube. You two convinced me that it was a bad idea to pick him. And then everybody I was watching, even Guru, was like, no, there's no way Alex is going to beat Ank. And it was like, yeah, he's a fighter. He's had some time off. He had a bad performance, but we've all heard that story before. We've all heard it far too often. And it's not that you were ill or whatever. It's the fact that you're sliding away. You're no longer anywhere near the fighter you once were. And I think that's what everyone thought it was for Pereira. So yeah, unfortunately, you two and the masses of MMA media diverted me from that pick. So yeah, unfortunately I did pick Ank. Still, nonetheless, couldn't be happier. Even though you got 55 points, I am so fucking happy that Alex Pereira has regained that belt. Because I didn't make many notes on this, but just to win a title in the UFC is a massive achievement. To move up in weight and win a second puts you within a very small group of elite fighters. Think about 10. To then lose that title and come back and take it from the guy who beat you is just fairy tale stuff. And to do it in a way that leaves no doubt. He could have shot arrows into Ank's body, but he did. I said he kept it classy. Jack Slack on his thumbnail for his show is saying that it was double disrespect using that little meme emote or whatever the hell you call it. But yeah, look what I did. That celebration of his as Ank was getting up. It was like, oh yeah, you messed with the wrong boy this time. Because Alex just came back in. Honestly, if I could have picked, it's like when Izzy fought against Alex and Izzy came in and he beat Alex at that time. And when I saw Izzy walking into the cage, I went, oh shit, I've picked the wrong guy. And I had that same feeling when I watched Alex come in this time. And then I saw him stood there and the camera zoomed in on his eyes and he's just staring across the cage. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is not the Alex that we saw last time. And then as you said, he came forward and it was like, oh. And it was just leg kicks, and just trying to get his distance and work out where the hell he was. And I think the punch that dropped Ank was the first punch that Alex threw, that overhand right that clipped him right behind the ear, and then a left hook just to nudge him down to the floor and then jump on top of him. And those 12-6 elbows, how much have they changed the game in MMA? Because now you can put your arms up over your face and I'm just going to hammer my elbow between your arms like a fucking hammer and chisel. And that's what it's done to the game. He landed one to the body that I can't imagine how much that must have fucking hurt. And yeah, just destroyed. He just destroyed Ankalaev. Honestly, I always say that my favorite title fight was Conor McGregor versus his name's gone for Eddie Alvarez, where he dismantled him in 2 rounds. I think it was, or 2 rounds, wasn't it, that one? And I always said that's my favorite title fight. I don't care about Conor knocking Aldo out in 13 seconds. That's a freak moment. It's just one of those things. But this fight is up there with that one for my favorite title fights. And he just did it in such a quick manner, but just coldly clinical. And you could see Ank was just like, oh, fuck. This is not the man I fought last time. I am in a lot of trouble now. And he just had no answer for him. And Alex just disposed of him. It's such a fucking great fight. And the MMA world and Dana White all breathed a huge sigh of relief when Alex won that belt back. And now Luke Thomas can stop talking about how everyone's forgotten Poatan because the Stoneface Killer is back. Yeah, so happy. Amazing fight.
He is back. He's back, and he is back emphatically. That was, you said it, man. Some performance. Like people often say that getting a belt and defending it is the toughest task in MMA, but I gotta kind of agree with what you said and what I personally believe. And it's not necessarily getting a belt and defending it that's the toughest. It's losing that belt and going and getting it back. And not only going and getting it back, but getting it back in the very next fight against the same guy that just beat you. the guy that's been talking all this shit, he's been fucking running his mouth, or his manager's been running his mouth. Somebody's been running their mouth. But just all the buildup, all the bullshit and the doubt from the people, and so many bandwagon riders that jumped off of the Poatan train going into this, and the belief that Ankh was just this guy who was actually levels above Alex, and we had seen the best Alex in there, and maybe he's tailing off in his career, and that turned out to be a bunch of fucking bullshit, because this guy that came out last night, like you said, the Stone-Faced Killer was back. The Stonehands Slaughterer, he was back in the building. There was no hesitation. There was no back down. There was not a second of, I'm going to let you dictate this fight and how this engagement plays out. No. He was on the front foot. He was forward. And he's like, bro, you're going to feel my power. You're going to understand why people are intimidated by just my mere presence. Like, because who you met the last time, I genuinely believe that was probably 40% of Poatan. And
yeah, I agree with his assessment of himself there.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard it before. You said it too. Like, it's been brought up countless times. This dude wasn't fucking lying, because this was a whole different animal in there. And any doubts anyone had about his age, the amount of combat sports, miles that he's seen, no, just throw that all away. Like, he's still that dude, given the right time, given an opportunity to heal and to go properly through a camp and not be rushed. It's amazing what this guy's accomplished in such a short time. And it really is like a movie. It's like a video game, a movie. It's crazy.
It's also the easiest fight of his career. He's never had a fight this short. I was listening to Luke Thomas. I'll give my source. Yeah, this is the shortest fight in Alex's entire, not just UFC, entire MMA career. Absolutely crazy. And the question, the question, of course, is who's next for him, because Carlos Ulberg, I would like to see that fight, but the possibility is these two, Tom Aspinall and Alex, on the White House lawn, because it's a fight that everyone would love to see, and America has nothing to lose by it.
It's very true.
It's not like you're putting an Englishman against a British guy. Sorry, an Englishman against an American, where you're going to go, oh, look, Revolutionary War. The English are coming back. We won the fight. This one, it's just like, look, you've got two of the big. Alex Pereira is now probably the biggest star in the UFC, I would say, with that comeback, and then you've got Tom Aspinall, who hopefully, God forbid that he loses, but hopefully walks his way through Cyril Gann, and then you could have these two fights. You could actually, I was thinking about it before the show, you could have Alex fight Ulberg sometime in 3 or 4 months, roughly speaking, and then Tom Aspinall, once he's gone through Gann, he's going to be able to fight in January, February, and that would give them both time to get ready for a UFC White House card.
Yeah, and I've heard,
which really would be the biggest fight in the world.
I can't. Come on, man. Chama and fucking Tommy on the White House lawn. It would be something. I've heard of people such as Ant Evans clamoring for that fight, the Tom versus Poatan fight. Of course, there's a lot of people in the fan base and certain MMA figures talking about the John versus Poatan fight, which apparently was who Poatan intended to call out, but very classy move by him to forego that and instead offer a moment of silence and some condolence up to John in his time of need with the passing of his brother Arthur, which RIP to Arthur. I hate to see anyone go through that. Of course, JBR offers their condolences as well. And then there's also Pereira is kind of becoming like I guess you could say in a sense, a Nate Diaz-like figure, with everyone chasing a fight with him. Hamzat is tweeting out that apparently he thinks he has unfinished business with Alex. And sorry, Hamzat, you need to slow your roll there. Defend your own belt in your own division first.
Yeah.
Let's not get crazy. It just shows and speaks to his star power right now. Like, clearly the fan base still loves this guy. Yes, they're going to love him more from a casual aspect with the gold belt on his shoulder. But I mean, you could see it in the numbers of people in live chats for watch-alongs during a Poatan pay-per-view. This guy is a fucking superstar, and we don't got a lot of those. So
no.
Man, I love Chama. I love everything that he brings to the sport. Just a phenomenal figure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Not ruined by Nina drama, as it turns out. He has survived it.
Yeah, no. Oh, that reminds me too. Also not ruined by the Mark Zuckerberg curse. Zuckerberg came back to his locker room beforehand, and he did not ruin this.
Oh, is that a curse as well? I wasn't aware of that one.
Yeah. If Zuck comes to your locker room, or if he's in your corner, or whatever the case may be, Zuck seems to be a.
I presume he didn't get his hair cut at the UFC. Got it done before.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
No resume review from MK, so he's safe from that curse.
All right. Well, that's not the only crazy bout we had. We had several crazy bouts on this card, so let's move it along to the co-main event now. And it is time to start those engines, bleeders, because it is machine time, folks. The piston churning, ethanol burning, highly combustible bantamweight action went down in our co-main event. It was the title of 135-pound king hanging in the balance. Would it either be retained by Georgia's Merab Dvalishvili or snatched away by the so-called Sandman, Cory Sandhagen? Well, the only thing Sandhagen snatched was his own ass off the canvas 20 fucking times. In what was a multiple record-setting performance, the Georgian Goliath of gas tanks trounced the man who talked all that shit. Utter domination on behalf of Dvalishvili for the vast majority of 25 minutes, including a clear 10-8 in round number 2, where the machine nearly slept the Sandman. I see you, Judge Eric Cologne, the only one to score that a 10-9. You fucking moron. Before I pass it to you, Mouse, let's take a look at some of these records, and a shout out to Duty of She Loves the Gloves for partially compiling the list here, or at least she put this tweet together and I stole some of it from her. Most takedowns landed in UFC history with 117. Most takedowns landed in a UFC title fight with 20. A record 5th UFC fight landing 10 plus takedowns. Also now the most strikes landed in UFC bantamweight history, 2,476. The longest win streak in UFC bantamweight history also with 14. And he also now holds the 4th longest win streak in UFC history overall with that 14, which is just 3 spots behind Anderson Silva's number 1 spot with 16. So, man, this guy, with no signs of stopping, it's pretty clear his name is going to be littered all across the record books for years and years to come. The machine is just that. He is a machine. Typically with JBR, or at least recently, winners go first around here. However, I was going to make Austin go first because he picked against Merab. But there's just the two of us here today. So that's out the window. Either way, we both correctly predicted a Merab win here, DM. I thought this was a fantastic performance, but I thought it was going to be, maybe slightly more competitive. I basically discounted Sandhagen leading in, but I expected, at least some more moments, like singular moments out of him. And he didn't really have any outside of maybe that 5th round there, I guess you could say. But what did you think of the co-main here? And just what do you think of Merab Dvalishvili as far as his placement amongst the all-time greats?
He has to be up there. Can you imagine? I don't think people consider this enough. He didn't fight Aljamain Sterling. He refused to fight him multiple times. He could have been champion much earlier. He could have had probably 6 defenses by now if he wasn't such good mates with Aljamain. So yeah, you've deprived Merab of God knows how many title defenses. Yeah, this was just an amazing fight. I know some people don't like this kind of fight, but we had that. Honestly, first round finish of which Cory won. Fair enough. I didn't mind giving him that round, but Merab came back to his corner and he was like, you couldn't see a drop of sweat on him, and that just went through the entire fight. I've got more notes down here, but I'm gonna deviate from them. He just went through the entire fight, and by the end of it, there was barely any sweat. They were like, "Do you want some ice on your back?" And he was like, "No." "Do you want some water?" "No." And I was like, holy shit, what is this guy? And yeah, as you said, Eric Cole refused to give Merab that 10-8 round in second thing. But what the fuck do you have to do to get a 10-8 from this guy? Was there not enough blood on the canvas for you or something, Eric? You know, like you need a refereeing course, sorry, a judging course before you come back again. And yeah, it's just Merab. It's everything. Like I've got a note from round 3. He grabs a single leg, and from the single leg, it's to a body lock, and then it's to a trip, and he just chains it and chains it and chains it, and eventually you're gonna go down because he's not gonna get tired. He's gonna keep going at you. What was it? 20 attempts in this one.
Yeah, or over 20 secured. It was, I believe, 37 attempted. I think it was something along those lines.
Jesus, that's crazy. There was a tweet by Robbie Fox came up and he said, he's the horror movie villain of MMA fighters, which he kind of is, despite being an awfully nice, friendly guy. Cory did try and do a good job. He was trying to work the body, did try and get in there and kill the gas tank, but he just couldn't do it. He landed a few shots, as you said. He landed that one at the end, and we've seen the little clip of them behind the scenes, after the fight, where he's saying, "You really hurt me there," and Cory laughing and saying, "Yeah, you almost had me in round 2." That fight, all credit to Mark Goddard. That fight could very easily have been stopped there. He didn't. He gave him enough time to see if he could survive it and get out of there. And just the other funny thing I put down on my notes, that from this fight and from the one we're going to talk about next, the Jiri fight, we should have a drinking game. I wouldn't advise you get far too drunk. Just take a shot every time Rogan or DC either relentless or chaos or chaotic, because they were just jabbering that throughout the entire fight. It was kind of funny. But yeah, what can you say about Merab? As you said, the machine just keeps coming. He just I'm speechless. I don't know what to say about him. And he does seem to just keep getting better, and he's not quite out of his prime yet, is he? Is he 31 or 32?
Honestly, I think he's 34, which makes it even crazier.
That would be crazy.
34.
He's 34. Oh, okay. Yeah, that does indeed make it crazier. So yeah, he's hitting that top arch now. I guess 35. The next time he fights, that'll be the tough one.
But is he? Is he hitting the top? Like, I don't know if that standard applies to him.
No, I don't know if it does either. You always get those freak guys who pull things off, and like you said, who the hell else has cardio like this guy?
It's nuts. Like, I mean, we talked about it in the preview show, actually, the fact that Cory trains at elevation. Like, he is accustomed to taxing his body at levels that normal humans, one would assume, are not accustomed to either. Like, and he's not a slouch. He's in the gym all the time. He's busting his ass. He is. And yet he goes in there and he goes up against a guy like Merab, who at 34 years old is fucking still getting better. He's still learning new things. His game is not the game that it was when he came into the UFC at fucking all. Like,
Nope.
He maintains elements of what made him a threat in those early days. But like the guy that lost those 4 fights that you see on his record is not the guy that exists today. And like you nailed it. Typically at this 35 mark, we all know it, the stat that went crazy and was made famous that no longer really applies, but still kind of does apply. Typically, I don't know if he's going to experience that same fall off. Even in a gradual level, I still think this guy's he's somehow still elevating. He's still climbing to a peak that it's like a pinnacle that few in this game have ever achieved, if anyone, to be able to do what he does. And, he said it himself kind of in the post-fight interview last night. I don't remember if it was in the cage or at the press conference, but he said, like, when I came into MMA, I wasn't really even a wrestler. He was a judo guy. He was a judoka. And he had to evolve and manipulate and change his entire style to work with MMA. And it took him a long time to kind of figure out how to do it. And he was very one-dimensional for a long time. And he did suffer some losses early. And it's just the way he has learned how to put the game together, to combine great coaching from people like the Matt Serras and the Ray Longas of the world to now the John Woods and the Syndicate MMAs of the world, and these different facets of the game, to put them all together into this this conglomeration that's just, I mean, I can't imagine being a opposing coach sitting down and trying to game plan for this guy and just spending hours and hours watching tape, scratching your fucking head, thinking like, where's the chink in his armor? Because every time they think that they've found it, they haven't fucking found it. Like you either rock him too late or you clip him and you can't capitalize, or like it's just so mind-boggling and head-scratching. Like, how do you even approach this dude? He's not human. He's an alien of MMA. It's nuts, man. It's fucking nuts. And
it's how you can tell
go
when
ahead.
a fight. So yeah, it's how you can tell when a fight is great when you know exactly what he's going to do, and you still can't stop it. Khabib had that influence. Hamzat has it at the moment with that first jumping takedown, and Merab, he's not as explosive or destructive as those other guys, but you know what he's going to do. He's going to come at you. The thing to try and beat him is to get him going backwards. That makes it much more difficult. But then, of course, once you start pushing him backwards, eventually he's going to set his feet and dive in for a takedown.
Yeah. And if he doesn't get the first one,
yeah, his striking has improved as well. He did not look out of place. Did not look out of place against Cory.
Oh hell no!
But yeah, again, like, I didn't say much about Cory, but all credit to him as well because his conditioning was fantastic to go those 5 rounds with Merab. Yeah, all credit to him.
It was. And yeah, I don't want to go on this one for too long, but just to wrap up, like my thoughts on it, like the striking has come miles. It has come leaps and bounds from where it was. And he did not look out of place. As you said it in there against Cory, in fact, I mean, he had his moments where he looked better than Cory. And, yeah, if you can back him up, that's your best bet. But good fucking luck backing up a fucking Sherman tank that's rolling downhill, because that's what he is. This guy, he's smaller than most. He's not the biggest, most imposing guy, but he must be as thick and dense as a fucking cannonball. And when he is coming at you, dude, with the relentless pressure and the constant idea in the back of your head that he could shoot on me at any moment, and it's not going to be one shot. It's like you said, Dangerous. It's going to be a chain. If he don't get the single leg, he's going to the waist lock. If he don't get the waist lock, he's going to trips. If he don't go to trips, like it's endless. It's relentless. Like, and you could see Cory, who's a guy who is as mentally sound as anyone in the game. You could see him just breaking in there, and at one point, like throwing his hands up in the middle of takedowns, like, what the fuck? I can't do nothing. I'm done. Like, I'm finished. I'm mentally spent. I'm physically getting spent. And he's not relenting. He's not slowing down. Who stops this man? MMA world, podcast fucking journalists and pundits far smarter than we, who have been doing this much longer. Who stops this man? Because if he doesn't stop himself, I don't think anyone does.
It's looking that way, isn't it? And also, of course, throughout the entire fight as well, just to rub salt into the wound while you're getting increasingly more fatigued, he's laughing and joking with DC and Rogan and smiling and joking. That must be so annoying. And then after the fight's over, what does he do? Comes and says, "Yeah, I wouldn't mind fighting in December." That's crazy.
Yep. And this is a guy too that I think. Go ahead. You got some?
No, I was just saying, get that man a fight if that's what he wants to do.
Absolutely. We're all idiots for not drafting him. We're fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And then credit to, I think it was DC that brought it up during the broadcast. This is a guy that, like, he still doesn't cut weight in the tradition, like the modern way. He still does it in the old school way. I can't remember which fight he was talking about, but one of his recent fights, he was like needing to cut like 6 pounds, real close to the fight. And, rather than use modern methods, all he did was run. He put on the fucking plastic suit and he just ran off 6 pounds real quick. What the fuck? Just crazy. A Neanderthal. Crazy bastard.
Why he has that cardio level if you're going to run 6 pounds off.
Yeah. Oh, it's just nuts. In Vegas, too. In the Vegas heat, I'm sure. And last thing, too. Shout out to fucking Georgia. Georgia, you are absolutely killing it. Between Ilia Topuria and Merab, like a small country, just dominating the MMA landscape.
Yep. Georgia on our minds.
Yeah. All right. And now the feature bout of the main card. back to the light heavyweight division for a 100% satisfaction guaranteed fucking banger. And that's not something that you can say about 205 every day, folks. Former champion meeting former title challenger, the Czech Samurai versus the American Muay Thai monster, Jiri Prochazka versus Khalil Rountree Jr. Oh my fucking god, dudes. He is an agent of chaos. He is the wizard of weaponized autism. He is Jiri Prochazka, and he said it far better than I ever could. So let me try to paraphrase his words in the post-fight speech. This man needs to feel like he is at the brink of death to be at his best. And I literally don't think he was lying. I think he's telling the fucking truth. For 2 rounds, Rountree more or less styled on Jiri. Incredible speed, ridiculous pop, and a vast array of strikes from a wide variety of angles. What do you even say about this one? Khalil was quicker, he was the sharper man, and Prochazka, he looked completely out of his element. By the way, what was with his footing there? That was very strange, had me thrown off. Jiri was just slipping, he was falling down, it was very weird. But then came round number 3, and suddenly Jiri had unlocked his Dynasty Warriors special Musu attack. All of that blistering speed and the cracking power that Khalil had shown in the first 2 disappeared. And as he cracked and crumbled under the relentless onslaught of everyone's favorite batshit crazy mixed martial artist, it was just, the pressure was too much. And in the end, Jiri would violently slump Rountree with a wild left hook. Guys, I don't even know what to say here. This was a win that would move Jiri up to 2 solid W's in a row. It would cement his place as still one of the top fighters in the division. For Rountree, he would fall to 14-7 overall in his career. This would also be the 4th time he'd been knocked out violently. What comes next for either man is up for debate, but one thing for certain is this was absolutely a war deserving of the Fight of the Night bonus that it received, and doubly deserving was Jiri Prochazka, who also earned a performance bonus for the finish. Danger Mouse. What a fucking fight, man. You did pick the wrong side on the preview show, and you did side with our guy Khalil. Well, technically, I guess you picked the right side until it was the wrong side. Nevertheless, though, tell us about all your thoughts, your takeaways, and your enjoyment levels for this light heavyweight feature bout.
Yeah, we talked about it before when we did the preview show, that this was probably going to be the fight of the night, and we were not disappointed whatsoever. This was pretty much the fight I expected to see, and in regards to picks, well, I covered my bets like any good gambler would. So I stayed with Khalil on Discord, but I had Jiri by 3rd round KO on Tapology, which is exactly what he achieved. So yeah. So fuck you, Austin. Yeah, I did keep that pick on there. That's why I only got 7 out of 14 instead of 9 out of 14 that I got on Tapology. But enough of that. Yeah, I loved the start of this fight because the ref said go, and these guys just strolled very casually into the center of the cage, gently touched gloves, and then it was on. And we had round 1 really, really super tactical. Both guys just feeling each other out, and then I think they're about the last 90 seconds or so, Khalil managed to land a couple of solid blows. I think it was a left hook that spanned Jiri's chin just a little bit and annoyed the hell out of him by the looks of it. And then round 2, Khalil, I'm going to call him Khalil. I have to do with these days. He kept composed, showing great technique, easily won that round as well. And then round 3, we had Khalil's coaches saying to him, look, Jiri's going to come out. He's going to come out hot this time. And that's exactly what he did. And then we had Khalil just keeping that great technique and just trying to take Jiri's head off with every single punch at the start of that round. You go back and watch it. He was swinging for the fences with great technique, but still swinging for the fences. And then we had Jiri just go full Czech samurai mode, stepped into the pocket, and he turned the fight into, that word again, into a more chaotic brawl. And then with about 2 minutes to go, and these guys were just standing, trading elbows. think they got at one point Jiri had his hand around the back of Khalil's head, slamming an elbow towards him, and Jiri was doing the same thing back. And I don't know. I put a little note down. Was this a MMA rope-a-dope? Because it seems that Jiri was just weathering the storm, and then he was going to work that body, tire Khalil out a little bit, and then he was going to seize the moment in the third when Khalil became tired. But as you said in his interview, he didn't seem to be saying that. He seemed to be saying that he couldn't get going because he didn't feel threatened. And because he said,
which is crazy.
He said round 1 was an easy round. You lost it, you fucking maniac. How is that easy? You lost round 2 as well. But yeah, fantastic performance. I think he's going to have to wait for Ullberg to get his shot at the belt before he gets one. Ank obviously won't be getting a rematch because he got murdered. So whatever happens next, we're going to get a fun fight. But yeah, I think it's going to be Alex versus Ullberg next. Khalil, really feel bad for him because he did the same as he did against Alex. He owned the fight for 2 rounds, and then the other guy just landed a solid punch. His nose looked a mess. I think Alex literally changed the shape of his face in when they had their last fight, because he was bleeding very early on. Really, really sad to see that happen to Khalil, but he's going to be one hell of a gatekeeper for the light heavyweight division. And good luck to Jiri. But again, you've already fought Alex twice. I'm not sure I've seen enough to make you believe, especially to beat that Alex that we saw tonight. I don't think there's a light heavyweight on the planet that's going to beat Alex on that form.
No, not that Alex. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to hear a guy at this level of the sport like basically say like, I gotta damn near get fucking finished to get turned on sometimes, but once I do get turned on, like I'm really fucking turned on. And boy, I don't think he's lying. Like I really do think that he's just that kind of, he's that thrill seeker, and he's that kind of he's that guy that it's a cliche, as many have said, he thrives in the fire, and obviously he does, but like for him, I think it's almost more than anyone I've ever seen, because like you could literally see him once he knew like, okay, like I'm out of time. I've nearly been beaten. It's go time now or never. His whole just demeanor, his movement, everything changed. Like he started like forecasting Khalil's shots before he threw them. Now, granted, Khalil was slower by that third round, but his head movement improved, like his timing, everything seemed different in that third. And all that weirdness from the first two, like that unsure footing and the slipping about and all that was just gone. And it's like, as soon as he flipped that switch, just the monster came out. Man, like, it's just crazy.
From when we talked to Ant Evans, and I forget which fighter he was, and the guy who meditated so much that he couldn't get the adrenaline flowing in his body when he walked to the cage. And I wonder if that's a similar thing with Jiri, because I'm sure he does meditation and that kind of stuff to keep himself calm.
Yeah. Like he literally needs to be on the brink of death to hit that pinnacle, like Super Saiyan mode. But yeah, and then real quickly before we do move on, I did want to touch on Khalil and just say, like you mentioned yourself, really good guy, a fun guy to watch fight. Of course, has a fun story. Maybe he's not a really good guy. Like I've heard some stuff about him behind the scenes, but nevertheless, really fun guy to watch fight. You got to enjoy Khalil Rountree fights, and you got to say too, like even in the losses, man, the guy, he might be the best looking fighter in a loss that you're ever going to stumble across. Like winning those first 2 rounds handedly and then getting finished in the third, like that's a shame, but he looked so fucking good in those first 2. Like he looked like a world beater. I mean, you got to hand it to him for that.
Yeah, it was super fast, much faster than Jiri was.
Yeah, and you can't knock him for going up against a guy that was able to withstand that and still be there in the third. Like it is what it is. So tough scenes, but yeah.
Light heavyweight just got exciting again.
Yeah, it sure did. And shout out to Jiri for also immediately getting into the crowd afterwards in his brown gi to be there for the main event.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, tears in his eyes when Alex won. He was like, "Oh God, I'm so happy." You could tell he just loves Alex as like a person. Like they got a good relationship. It's nice to see.
Yeah, obviously.
Next bout of the main card in reverse order, a featherweight fight that most felt pretty strongly would play out one of 2 ways. either a boring points win for Yusuf Salal or a brain-melting KO for Josh Emmett. Wrong. All wrong except for one. Quicker than you can shake your dick after a piss, the Moroccan Devil had Emmett down on the ground and had this fight completely wrapped up after a verbal submission due to armbar. With zero resistance, zero damage taken, and zero sweat broken, Zalal found himself fresh as a daisy and ready to make the most of his microphone time with Joe Rogan. And here's where he put on his worst performance. After some panhandling and pleading to attempt swaying the masses back to his side, Zalal would awkwardly call for a Lerone Murphy matchup, a fight that Rogan, of all people, quickly pointed out wouldn't make much sense. Some weird exchanges followed, but ultimately it seemed a wasted opportunity to say something of value with his mic time. Regardless of that, though, he easily gets himself a huge win here and likely locks himself into a big matchup with whatever lies ahead. He also scores Team Danger a solid 25 points in the fantasy standings. Frankly, I feel it should have been 35 points with a bonus, but you can thank Joe Pfeiffer's undeserving ass for that. He took that from you. But who am I to complain? Danger Mouse, though, you could certainly complain. Talk to us about this fight, the finish, and the bonus that you were robbed of. What do you got?
Well, yeah, the bonus. This fight lasted 1 minute, 20 seconds or something. It was another short one, 90 seconds, whatever. And it took, what's his face? I can't even think of it. Pfeiffer, 2 rounds to get his submission. And then he got a face crank instead of a nice arm bar that caused, as you said, a verbal tap. We don't get those very often. So, yeah, I was robbed. He was robbed. Give that man 50 grand, Dana. You owe him. Yeah, just 30 seconds into the fight, and the Moroccan Devil just dives in and gets a takedown. Then got the armbar, and you all doubted me. I said he was going to get this done by submission. It was just a shame my boy rushed things because he got it done in the first round, and I said he was going to get it done in the second. So yeah, really, really fantastic performance by Zalal. As you said, didn't do very well on the mic afterwards. Was very respectful about Josh Emmett. That was very nice to hear. Because that guy is a legend, 40 years old. I was surprised we didn't see his gloves go down in the cage in certain respects. Yeah, fantastic result for me, as I said. I picked Zalal. I'd completely forgotten I had him on my draft team when I picked him on the last show. So, he's been a very quiet boy recently, but he certainly wasn't quiet last night. Fantastic performance, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I gave you credit in the opening there. To be fair, I did give you credit and said, one of us, most of us got it wrong. Although you did say he would choke him out, and he didn't choke him out. It was an armbar.
I did, yeah.
A weird armbar at that. That was a strange situation. Like, I'm sure it was bad because you did hear, the verbal submission, and you did hear Emmett grunting on the replay as he walked away from it. So probably pretty bad. But just super quick, and the way it unfolded was pretty peculiar. Shout out to the ref. I can't remember who the ref was, but good on the ref for catching that and hearing that in the moment, because that could have gone bad if he held that thing on there. But just, yeah, tough for Josh Emmett, who at 40 years old, and just clearly slipping, body failing him, been through a lot of tough fights. I don't know what you do with the guy. Like, he doesn't seem ready to retire. They don't really give softballs, so matchmaking him is going to be a bit interesting going forward. Maybe a Josh Emmett versus an Aaron Pico. That could be a fun fight. I would watch that. 2 thick, hard-hitting wrestlers. And then for your draft pick, man, Yusuf Zalal, like, he does have a tough time with public relations. He doesn't have the best rapport with the people. Kind of puts his own foot in his mouth at times, but he is on a win streak now. I believe it's up to 8 fights. Some of the names early on in that win streak, not the best. But yeah, stringing together some big ones here. And like I said in my little preamble, I do think he set himself up for a big fight going forward. I don't think it's going to be Lerone Murphy, but
no, just looking at the rankings now, he's got Josh Emmett, who's just beat Brian Ortega, Arnold Allen, Aljamain Sterling, Lerone Murphy, Yair Rodriguez, Diego Lopez, Movsar Evloev, and then, of course, Alexander Volkanovski, the champion.
He should have just done the ballsy thing and called out Evloev because nobody calls out Evloev.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be probably a good match for him, I guess, with the ground game skills that he's got. It's obviously very, very slick.
Yeah, fuck it. And nobody likes either of those guys, so somebody's got to walk away with some new fans.
Yeah.
Well, one or the other. I mean,
there we go. Matchmaking done on JB, huh?
Hit us up. All righty, folks. Well, finally, we come to what was the main card opener for UFC 320. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a bus. And it's also the dickhead that we were just discussing a moment ago. Two dudes that 85% of fight fans don't give a flying fuck about, but who do typically come to bang each other. Philly's favorite salty middleweight ginger, Joey No Hot Sauce Please Pyfer, made his way to Vegas to face off with the German guy who has a Russian name, Abus Magomedov. What do you say about this slot fest? Pyfer comes out in round number 1 with his singlet on, ready to show his wrestling chops in what seemed to be a ploy to gas out the bus, which may have actually worked. But in the process, he would find himself stuck in some precarious situations, including but not limited to the 1998 head scissors choke that he got trapped in that first round. That was funny. But ultimately, he would survive and see round number 2, where fortunes changed, and Joseph Pieface would end up the aggressor in the grappling exchanges, albeit after rocking Magomedov with a big shot there. He would eventually wrap up an RNC, securing the choke and securing the W. Despite all of us taking an L on the preview show, I still don't regret my pick. I still don't. I don't know about you, Danger Mouse, but why don't you tell us, give us your takes on the main card opener between Pyfer and Abus?
Yeah, kind of a middleweight bout in certain respects. Yeah, round 1, Abbas took it very nicely, and then he just repeated his performance as he did against Strickland by completely gassing out. And then in round 2, Pyfer just piled on the pressure, landed a couple of overhand rights, hurt Abbas, and then he just mauled him on the ground. Couldn't get the choke, so he just cranked his face off instead. I wasn't expecting a sub win here, but it was a nice job by Pyfer. As before, I did pick Abbas on the Discord, but on Tapology, I actually had Pyfer by second round KO. So he got a sub, which spoilt my perfect score on that fight. Yeah, I don't know how much you can really say about this. It was a decent enough job by Pyfer. He stayed cool. He worked on Abbas's body. He said afterwards they knew he was going to gas, and that's what he did. And yeah, nice little performance. Again, I'm going to blame you two because you two swayed me with your hate of the ginger guy. You taste it in the air when you were discussing this fight. Yeah, but yeah, I picked him on Tapology, so I'm not going to complain. And Abbas, yeah, I don't know what you're going to say with him. He's great. He's a bit like Hamza in that he's a fantastic round 1 fighter, but unlike Hamza, he can't go on past that. It seems. Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully that hate in the air doesn't taste too spicy because Joe might get diarrhea. We don't want to get the shits. But I will say that had I have known pre-fight when we did the preview show that Joe Pyfer was going to have Dean Thomas in his corner, I might have picked Pyfer because I think that was actually the edge here. I think that having Dean in his corner, and I guess apparently in his training camp, at least somewhat in the build up to this, I think that made a difference because this was a Pyfer that came out, he always comes out confident, but he came out confident, it seemed, not just in his striking, but also in that grappling aspect of his game. And he's a pretty good grappler, a strong guy. So if he can get his, big stupid ginger arms around your head or your neck or your chin or whatever, he could crank on it pretty good. So having somebody like a Dean Thomas in there to kind of coach him along from the corner and probably coach him along in camp, I think that made a big impact. Dean Thomas, of course, in his camp because he's helping to train what's his name escaping me right now, welterweight Sean Brady, also a friend of Joe Pyfer and preparing potentially for an upcoming fight. But so Dean is in Philly working with those guys, and yeah, that's pretty good for Pyfer. Anyone, Jillian Robertson has shown it, Amanda Nunes has shown it, many fighters have shown it. If you get Dean Thomas in your corner, he's going to do some good stuff for you. So as much as I hate Pyfer, that's a smart move. All right. Well, I think that just about wraps it up for the main card. But if you've been here before, you'll know what comes next. And if you're new around here, you're about to find out. Instead of wasting your time with preliminary bouts that lack consequence, we cut right to the chase and tell you about the ones worth watching. This is our best of the rest. Danger, pull out your pen and pad because it's time to highlight your favorite undercard bout. Hit us with your best of the rest.
Okay, I'm gonna reference two of the fights. This is not my pick, but it was the middleweight bout, which is the headliner on the preliminary card, between Ateba Abega Gautier and Treston Vines, with Vines winning the UFC 100-meter dash circling the cage. It was like he was trying to wear grooves in that thing. It was like a hair at a greyhound track. But isn't that saying that it's not? There's that saying that it's no point running away from snipers. You just die tired. And that's exactly what happened in this fight. That was brutal finish by Gautier. It clipped him with an elbow, then just wrapped his elbows around his head and tossed him to the floor. It was really,
like
really
a
crazy.
praying mantis. He just snatched him and fucking threw him.
Yeah, I was watching it about 3 times in slow mo. Going, what exactly happened there? So that was fantastic. But we all knew that was the poor guy Treston Vines took that fight on fairly short notice, I believe. And Gautier is an absolute fucking animal. But the fight I have to pick out is between middleweight Edward Shabazian versus Andre Muniz, because we had the crazy end to that fight. We had Edmund taking the lead for the first part of the round for the striking for the first 4 minutes or so, and then Muniz finally got a takedown. And just for a moment, it looked like he might be threatening to get a finish, but Edmund shrugged it off, stood up. And then he clipped Muniz with a Czech left hook and then followed him down and just piled on the pressure. I think that might have been another 12-6 elbow blast there. But whatever. It was raining blows down until Mark Smith stepped in it with just 2 seconds left on the clock. So, yeah, amazing. But Edmund Shabazian, we talked about it before, he's been with the UFC, I believe, 7 years now. He's been with us since he's 20 years old. We're seeing another Max Holloway, a guy who's growing up in front of our eyes. But yeah, that had to be my pick for that one. I could say good performance by Farid Basharat as well, because it was a good performance, but wasn't that exciting. Just a nice fight to watch.
Yeah, and Edmund, finally kind of coming into his own. It seems as a fighter. Granted, it's not against the sharpest competition, but he had a tough go in the beginning. They kind of didn't do him much favors out of the gate. To see him kind of stringing some wins together now and seeming to be finding his groove is really nice because, he has been around a very long time. And I think we're all pretty familiar with Edmund at this point. Extreme Couture guy too. Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. For mine, there's several that we could really mention here. I'll go 2 as well though. I got to shout out Ramiz Brahimaj, taking on Austin Vanderford, aka Mr. PVZ. This was a fight that so many people discounted him out or discounted him on and counted him out. I don't know why Vanderford was such a heavy favorite in this fight. The guy's not that good. Like he's got all right grappling, but he lacks in so many other departments. And Brahimaj, just if you know the guy's backstory, really inspiring stuff. Guy who's been through a lot of things. Just recently coming off of like a spinal fusion surgery where they told him his career was going to be over, and if he did ever compete again, he was never going to be the same. Well, fuck you, doctors, because he's better than he ever was. Science be damned. And then just crazy story growing up. He grew up with like 14 of his fucking family members in a single apartment. His aunt slept in the bathtub, like crazy fucking shit. So happy to see this guy fucking, getting some wins, making some money, stringing some wins together. Very nice. And then also outside of that one, I also have to mention, kind of in a weird way, a mirror image of what Edmund Shabazian was to Ronda Rousey. Jakub Wiklax, or Viklax, I believe it is, fighting out of Poland, coming over from KSW, managed by Joanna Jacek, and not getting an easy matchup, one would imagine, being paired against Apache Mix looking to not lose 2 in a row to start his UFC run. Apache Mix, who at one point many people said was the best bantamweight in the world. Well, it turns out many people were fucking wrong because he is not the best bantamweight in the fucking world. He is, not even close. this wasn't the most like jaw-dropping or impressive performance from Beaklocks, but he came out there and he did a solid job, had himself a very nice debut against, again, a guy that many people counted him out against. And I, for one, scored it for him. I did think he won this fight. Some people thought Patchy won. I don't think you can get mad either way, but just a huge win for him and a major stock dropper for a guy in Patchy Mix that, I don't know what you do with him now. Like, where does he go from here?
Well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop picking ex-Bellator guys because I thought his experience might be enough to get him through this fight. And I'm not going to, because I have no desire to watch it again. But I think if you scored it, I could go back and score this fight very easily for Patchy. But I wouldn't say it's a robbery particularly.
Right.
Yeah, great performance by the other guy. What was it, 9-0, 9-0-1 record or 6-0-1 record, something like that. He's got no contest on his sheet, I believe.
Beaklocks?
Yeah, Jakob Vickers, I'll pronounce it. But he was throwing gillies in that fight like they have an expiry date. It was hilarious.
Yeah. I saw JK calling him the Diamond, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. That's the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah. And shout out to Dave too, who pointed this out a while back, and it still rings true. The neutering of Patchy Mix, the guy got fucking engaged or married, whichever it is, to Tatiana Suarez, and I don't know if he's won since. I'm pretty sure he hasn't won since. So big downhill slope for him. And then
Maybe
we might as well go ahead.
I was going to say maybe he gets a consolation blowjob every time he loses.
Let's hope for his sake, because there's a lot of losing going on lately. But yeah, I might as well mention it real quick before we get out of here too. Daniel Willie Cat Santos taking on Ju Sang Yu. Ju Sang Yu, the Korean Zombie Jr. Yeah, again, another one where this was a bit strange coming in because apparently Santos could not make the 145-pound weight limit leading into it. And they switched it prior to weigh-ins to a 153-pound catch weight. Santos requested 155. Ju Sang Yu declined. They met somewhere in the middle at 153. Either way, this is what happens when you showboat and you're in there, celebrating too much and being too arrogant, too cocky. Yeah, this is the highest level of the game, and anyone can get caught at any given time. And Ju Sang Yu found that out, and now moves down to 9-1.
Yeah, I saw the odds on that fight. I picked Jew on that one, but if I'd have seen the odds before I would have actually picked Santos. So mildly annoying loss there. And just a quick shout out to Veronica Hardy, as always, opening the card because of, we know, Dan Hardy's arguments with the UFC. So she always gets her open cards. But yeah, she got a nice little win there.
Yeah, that was a weird one too, because she said afterwards that she thought that Brogan Walker's arm broke and that she tapped. She said she felt the arm break and a tap. And apparently, I don't know, Brogan Walker either played it off and got away with one, or she, Veronica Hardy, had a Overeem versus Stipe moment and felt a phantom tap. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, she won, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, she did. Get her off the. Let her at least get the second bout of the night next time. Come on, guys. All right. Well, that seems like as good of a time as any, because that's all the fights sorted and summarized. But we are not quite through yet. You and myself, Danger Mouse, we still need to complete one last task before we put a final pretty little bow on UFC 320. That means we got to take our analyst hats off and we got to put our judges' hats on, because it's time to rate that card. Okay, I feel like we almost never go to Danger Mouse first. So with only two of us here, that's exactly what we're going to do. Danger Mouse, let's hear your final thoughts and your rating on UFC 320.
Okay. The prelims were not the most exciting on this card, I don't think. The main card obviously was really, really exciting. I don't think there was a bad fight on it. Pfeiffer was not the most exciting, but it was still okay. It was a finish. Zalal, obviously. Yuri, Merab, we didn't get a finish, but that was still a fun fight. I did not mind watching 5 rounds of that. I even rewatched it back again today and didn't skip through anything. But the prelims just not quite so good. I'm going to have to get. I should probably score it a little bit less, but because of the main result, main event result, I think I'm going to be a bit more generous, and I'm going to give it a 9, and I'm going to give it a 9.13 because that was Alex's 13th win in the UFC. So yeah, 9.13 for me.
That is generous. That is a fitting score now that you explain why. And I can't say that I disagree with it being that high. I was feeling really good about the top 3 bouts, obviously, of this event coming in. I don't know how anyone wouldn't. 6 names there in those last 3 fights or top 3 fights, depending on how you look at it, that are always going to put on fun performances. They're always going to be fun to watch. I agree with you also. Like, this is one of those cards that I'm going to go back and watch this card again. I think I'll go back and at least, a good 4 or 5 of these bouts. I'm going to want to go back and I'm going to want to see him again. That's not very common nowadays.
Nope.
Not with UFC. And this is another one. Go ahead.
I was going to say my mood, it may have been improved somewhat by I've just tried that rum that I bought, and it is absolutely fantastic. It's like taking a mouthful.
I had my fair share of Bing rips too, so I was substances were helping me along as well. But it was a really fun event. It felt big, despite maybe not having the most a build up or buzz around it. In fight week, it could always use a little bit more of that, but it felt big. Poatan fight week always feels big. It was a rematch that felt warranted and deserved, I think. I can't really find too much to complain about with this one, so I won't do a decimal, but I'm going to come pretty close to you, and I'm going to give this one a 9 also. I think this was a really, really good card. This is one that we're going to remember going forward, to say the least.
For sure.
Yeah, just fucking phenomenal. One that we're not going to remember going forward, though, is probably next week's card. I don't know.
I haven't even looked in my usual way.
Is it Rio? I think Rio's next. I'm not positive.
Oh, it might be. Yeah.
I don't know. That's actually a pretty solid card, come to think of it.
Is Charlie fighting on it? Olives? Or
yeah, he should be. Let me check.
I couldn't remember if he'd lost the fight or not.
Yeah, he's fighting. He's taking on Gamrot, but I'm not sure if this is next week.
I haven't looked. I've got the schedule in front of me.
But yeah, so yeah, that's gonna do it, guys. Let me redo that. All right, bleeders, that is gonna do it for this edition of the Weekend Roundup. But you can catch us right back here next week for another episode recapping a much shittier card than this. No matter how good it isn't going to top this one. So until then, hit the like and hit the sub. Drop us a comment. He's been Danger Mouse. I'll always be Lazy Bed. And we'll be getting the fuck out of here. Keep on bleeding, guys. Peace.
See you next week. God. I'm going to try and put some. I haven't given this any thought whatsoever.
Yeah, me neither.
It's okay. We can edit this silence out. It doesn't matter. Look. Okay, something.
One moment. Pause for barking dog. And he also now holds the 4th longest win streak in UFC history overall with that 14, which is just 3 spots behind Anderson Silva's
win streaks that he snapped. Sean Strickland had an 18-fight win streak until Poatan knocked him out. Adesanya was riding a 23-fight win streak. 13 for Prochazka, only 4 there for Hill, 5 for Rountree, 14-fight unbeaten streak there for Ankalaev.
No Austin here to make strange little woo noses.